Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel. My name is Frank, and today we're making Thor's hammer. This was such a fun build, and I actually filmed this video about a week or two ago, but I wasn't happy with how it came out. It looked bad, so I decided I wanted to revise my painting, and oh my god, am I glad I did. This file is from the one and only Quentin Esp. He's the same guy who designed my Stormbreaker and another little project I'm working on that luckily isn't sitting in the background, so I don't have to keep it secret. So this was actually done in 3 prints, and we're gonna kind of go through a little bit of the whole process, how I printed it, how I arranged it, a little bit of the finishing, and how I got this awesome mirror shine. Now for this, we're gonna be dealing with the free Thingiverse version from Quentin Esp, and this is still just an absolutely beautiful version that he put a lot of love into. So if you just want Thor's hammer, this is by all means totally fine for it. But you can also head over to his Etsy, and I'll include a link for that down below too, where he includes all 3 possible versions of Mjolnir for only $20 roughly, and gives you all the options, all the pommels, all the differences, all the little bits and bobs you're gonna need to actually build this thing, and you can build it really however you want, and it's cut absolutely beautifully. And he even includes that all the detail in here are separate pieces, so this is really just an awesome model. But if you just want the free version, that's the one I printed, and it came out just fine. So to each his own, and we're gonna be dealing with this one exclusively. So parts wise, this thing was actually pretty fun and easy to print. He gives you quite a bit of options. You can actually one-shot print the whole hammer. I wouldn't suggest doing it on something like an Ender 3 because it's not gonna fit, but the option's there. This would actually fit on a CR10S or CR10 Max, and you could one-shot the entire piece, but then it might be a little bit hard to reinforce. The other options laying out there are, he gives you the entire hammerhead, which if positioned properly, fits just fine on an Ender 3. And I wouldn't print it this way because of the runes on the bottom. I would at least rotate it probably 180 degrees, just flip it, because the bottom's gonna be a lot easier to clean up. It's just a smooth kind of situation where you can actually print the whole hammerhead in one shot and eliminate the need to fill in the seam in the middle, and this fits on an Ender just fine. Now the thing I messed up on, and I still feel dumb about it, when I went and actually cut this handle, I cut it in half, and I accidentally chopped off the very bottom. This little bit down here that actually goes onto the hammer. I don't know why, but my cut didn't save it, so I didn't print it. So I'm actually missing that part on mine, but it's very minuscule. It's very hard to notice, and I'm not gonna reprint the whole handle just to do that. So you can chop the handle up however you need. The reason I chopped it up is because it wanted a lot of supports for the top of the pommel, the top of the handle. So this is totally up to you on how you want to cut it, but I just chopped mine in half, so I didn't get as much wobble or anything, and the slicing times on all of this were pretty generous. And then he also gives you the hammerhead that you can print in 2 sections, which this is what a lot of people will do just to get better details out of it. And you can print it just flat like that, and then you just fill in that seam. But unfortunately, I see a lot of people do this, and they don't spend as much time filling in that seam line, and you can kind of always see it. So I wanted to avoid that completely. I think I printed mine at about a 5% gyroid infill, and the hammer itself is very strong. If we were gonna print this on some dynamic settings with how I normally do stuff on my Ender, we can kind of mess around with this and see how long it will take. 3 days with half a roll of filament. Now again, this is a very high quality, so you can do what you need to kind of cut this down. This is a 0.4 millimeter nozzle. On my CR10S, I'm running a 0.6, and it didn't take anywhere near this amount. But this would give you absolutely fantastic results, and if you have the time to wait, go ahead and print it just like this. You can see here on a CR10 Max, you can actually one-shot the entire hammer. However, you're gonna get a little bit of layer adhesion issues, and it might not be the strongest. So what you could do in that case is actually just tilt it over just a little bit, and then slice it like this. So as the layers actually build up, they're crossing, and it's actually giving you a much better, stronger cylinder as they climb up. So for the low price of 5 and almost 6 days and a little over half a roll of filament, you could be the proud owner of Mjolnir in one shot. And gonna be honest, it'd be really cool to walk into a room and pull this in one shot off of a printer and just have it in your hand. But again, this is totally optional and probably a little trivial, so I wouldn't recommend doing this. So while filming this, some of my video files got a little bit corrupted, so it's gonna be a little bit of a jumbled mess. I'm gonna do my best to explain the different steps I took. There'll be a lot of cuts back and forth, and some hand motions might not make sense because I'm going to be doing a little bit of voiceover of the voices I did on those videos. But at the end of this, I promise you'll understand how I made this thing. Once everything was off the printer, it came off, like I said, in just one big shot. I was able to pull it off just fine, and the detail was really nice. From there, it was just a matter of kind of cleaning up my supports at the bottom, and welding the handle together. You can see here in this video that I actually ran a metal rod through the handles before I had welded it together. And what I did for this is I actually took one of my solid metal rods and drilled it through the center of the handle. Now he provides holes already pre-made through it, but you still need to tap those threads in. And by putting the metal rod on the end of the drill, I was able to actually force it and grip it through and make it one solid piece. And then I just did a simple PLA welding very lightly. Because the metal rod, I didn't really have to dig into the handle too much. I wasn't as concerned with the actual strength of the plastic when the metal was doing all the work. So I just did a very light PLA welding around the seam, and it came out absolutely perfect, and I just sanded it down. Once everything was ready and built together, it was off to paint. Now the handle was pretty easy to paint. I actually just ended up spraying it with this entire Krylon flat brown, and it actually came out a pretty nice color. Yes, you can go and leather wrap it. There's a lot of different ways you can do this. Since this is just going to be for display up there, I was okay with just the brown paint. Maybe one day I'll go back and actually throw the leather on, but it's a little bit of extra work that I don't know if I really want to do. The hammerhead though is what really took me for a loop. Now you can see in this video, originally it did look okay. It looked more of like a solid aluminum paint, but I really wasn't happy with the results. It turns out there were some spots I missed when I was sanding, and the metallic paint really showed that. There's actually a few spots on here that I don't really want to point out, but I went back, I actually found a new paint. I found a little bit less of a random Rust-Oleum metallic. Now this stuff is absolutely great. This is almost like chrome. I think it's as close to chrome as it can be without calling it that. But what you need to remember when using metallic finishes like this is it always benefits from a very high gloss black base coat. So you want to take your time. You want to get some very good black spray paint. Now the spray paint itself doesn't need to be gloss black. You can do a flat or a satin black, and then over top of it you do a clear coat. But you need that gloss black. You need a gloss black finish, because then when you go over with the chrome, it's going to give you a much, much shinier, nice result. And I'm still absolutely blown away with how shiny and beautiful this came out. Now I could have spent more time on it. It did orange peel just a little bit in some areas, but as some people have said on Instagram, it actually gives it a little bit more of a hammered metal finish look because it's not this perfect mirror finish. Now, this type of paint is, you can't clear coat this unless you have some special all-clad, and there's a lot of testing that goes into this. So this is not sealed or clear coated, so it does show fingerprints very easily, and if I sit here and kind of rub the metal enough, it will start to come off onto my fingers. So this is just for display only. But with something of this size, take your time sanding it. This is such a big flat surface, and I'll see people make these and they'll still have layer lines around it, and it does not get easier than sanding this, especially with the PLA smoothing that I do with the electric palm sander. Go and invest in one of those. It made this an absolute joke to sand. There's no reason you should have layer lines on this. As for the runes, I still might go and add a little bit of a metal oil wash to kind of darken the inner details up a little bit. But honestly, I think the shadows kind of do it enough. I'm really happy with this. I really couldn't have asked for this hammer to come out better. If you wanted to, if you did print the parts in separate bits, you could add some weights. I've seen people actually make it so they can actually balance the hammer kind of on its side. The model maker Quinton Esp, he did the same thing, where you can actually take the hammer and just, you know, balance it on itself. As for the leather strap, this is actually just an old leather belt I had that I cut up. It's a little rigid. I'm hoping to kind of like wear it down a little bit more, and I was able to feed it through and glue it in 2 spots in the handle. And this was just very simple and easy to do. It's actually in there pretty good. I can actually hold it on my wrist and pull it and spin it around, but I wouldn't recommend it. Again, it's, you know, just a prop. That kind of does it for this video, guys. This isn't actually a complicated prop. It's actually a really good kind of testing, starting proper build that you can 3D print. The files are free. It doesn't take long to print, and if you put in a little bit of work, it can come out looking really, really nice. Just get it. I've taught you guys how to PLA weld. I've taught you guys kind of how to position your prints a little bit better, and I've taught you guys how to paint a little bit. So hopefully that's enough, and that's all you need to kind of tackle this kind of print. It's really fun, and I really recommend doing it. And it's one of those iconic things that's once it's on a shelf, shiny or not shiny it is, everybody knows what Mjolnir looks like. So I think that just about does it for this video, guys. If you haven't already, if you could subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I have a lot more prop videos coming out. I got Captain America's World War II shield. I have Captain America's broken Endgame shield, a Mark 85 helmet, and some things hiding behind you that you can't see yet. So I'd really appreciate it. I really want to keep doing these, and it's just been absolutely great. If you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, something I didn't cover about this, something you want to see more in depth, drop a comment down below. Hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, the Discord, wherever. Speaking of the Discord, there's actually a 600 member strong Discord link down below. It's a free Discord for cosplay and 3D printing and everything in between for beginners and noobs and experts. And everybody's there, and it's a great resource. It's free, so just go and join, sign up, and you can lurk, read what everybody's doing, or you can post and contribute. That's totally up to you. It's an awesome community, and it's not as cluttered as the Facebook groups. That's it for this one, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Wait, I'm not worthy.